everyone. Today I've got my top 10 best films of 2017 list. Now, I had seen a lot of movies that I thoroughly enjoyed. I liked many films for different reasons, so I would say that I'm happy with my picks. So without any further ado, here is my best list of 2017. First, my honorable mention, and I wanted to pick at least one that, I was sort of skeptical about it first, but then I would see it again, and then I enjoyed it the second time around, and that is for Star Wars: The Last Jedi, which I feel like is one of the more divisive and polarizing Star Wars films of this new franchise, and even comparing it to any of the other previous trilogies, I would say that this is a movie that I was highly anticipating in seeing, just because, hey, it's Star Wars, and I'd like to see, what was going to be next with the adventures of all of these characters, and they added a lot more characters, a lot that, I would think, were they, relevant to the overall story? Did they have a purpose? In this movie, I'd say that because I didn't exactly like it the first time, I was disappointed in it, but then I saw it again, and I would say that I definitely enjoyed it much more, and, I sort of tried to, I guess, forgive some of the things that maybe I was nitpicky about, but, I did have a reason for that. Maybe it wasn't as great as the other Star Wars films, but it certainly wasn't the worst. My number 10 on this list is for a movie that I had just recently seen, and it is Call Me By Your Name. It is getting a lot of awards buzz, and especially for one of the stars of the movie. And I will do a review for this. You can hear more in depth of what I thought about this film, but I thought it was one of the best of the year. It was one that I was not expecting to see on this list, but I put it on here because it was just, it really touched me, and, I really felt for the characters in this movie, and this overall storyline I thought was really beautiful. So that is why Call Me By Your Name is my number 10. For my number 9 best film of 2017, a lot of you are gonna hate me for this, but I did this last year for another film of this series based off of a book, 50 Shades Darker. Now, I really enjoyed this film, and I really love this series, and I love the direction that it went in, and yes, it did go in a darker tone, and I just loved the filmmaking of this film, and really just loved everything that was going on in this movie. A lot of you might disagree with me, but it doesn't really matter, because if I enjoyed it, I think it deserves some more recognition. For my number 8 best film of the year, it is for It. Now, this is a horror movie that I was really looking forward to seeing, because even though, the other It movie with Tim Curry is more I guess dated now, and it's maybe cheesier than this, at least this had a comedy, but it was also more horrific, and I feel like it really was terrifying to watch, and I just thought this was a very well done horror film, and it was just everything that I was hoping for it to be. So I just really loved this film, and I at least thought that Bill Skarsgård was great as Pennywise. My number 7 best film of 2017 goes to Lady Bird. Now, this is another movie that's up for awards consideration for, Best Director, Greta Gerwig, Saoirse Ronan. I really love her as an actress. I loved her in this movie. It's that coming of age film, and I had seen a couple of coming of age movies like Boyhood, Edge of 17, and I just thought like this was so different. I could really relate to her character, and I just really loved sort of the tone and just the feel of the film and everything that I was hoping for it to be. And I think it's a movie that anybody could enjoy and possibly relate to. My number 6 best film of 2017 is for Logan. Now this is probably one of the best comic book films I have seen. It was a very well done film by James Mangold, starring Hugh Jackman as Logan, aka Wolverine, in the X-Men universe, and I just loved this film, and it would be sad if this was his final film in this role, but it was one where he just knocked it right out of the park, and one that could definitely have you shedding some tears, and I know I definitely did watching this movie by the end of it. For my number 5 best film of the year is another comic book film that, you know, was pretty divisive, but I really enjoyed it because I'm a huge DC fan, and it is for Justice League. Now, I had seen this movie I don't know how many times, but every time I've watched it, I've enjoyed it every single time, and I just loved seeing DC's superheroes all coming together in one film. And even though Zack Snyder didn't exactly get to finish directing this film, Joss Whedon stepped in and helped to shape it to be what it ended up being. And I would like to see an extended cut of this film, and I'm sure some of you guys also want to see that as well. But if that doesn't happen, at least I'd like to see more deleted scenes or something. I'd like to see more from these characters and these actors. I just really enjoyed this film. My number 4 best film of 2017 goes to War for the Planet of the Apes. This is one of the best trilogies of Planet of the Apes I have ever seen. Andy Serkis was just, I think, definitely awards worthy as the character Caesar. I mean, the fact that he can do performance capture, and, you know, he did the same thing for Supreme Leader Snoke in Star Wars The Last Jedi, and I think he really does bring this character to life in a way that just really draws you in and makes you feel exactly what he feels. And I mean, it really felt like a bittersweet end to this trilogy by Matt Reeves. My number 3 best film of 2017 goes to Get Out. Now, this is sort of a suspenseful horror thriller comedy by Jordan Peele of Key and Peele, but he just really had one of the best movies made this year. I mean, almost like it was rated fresh on Rotten Tomatoes, and it really stuck with me, and it's one of those movies that you never forget what was going to happen, and every single time I watch it, it just absolutely is just so amazing, and just really crazy, everything that's going on. But there's a deeper message that is in this film that I think audiences pick up on, and it's just something I've never seen before, and I think that's why it is a standout film. Now, my number 2 best film of 2017 is for Beauty and the Beast, and this movie, you know, I was a fan of the original animated film, which had gotten some Oscar buzz, and this one, I don't know how much Oscar buzz this one will get, but I think this was an equally beautiful film. It was beautifully shot. Everything just captured what was so great about the animated film, and then some. Emma Watson as Belle was great, and the cast was great. The art direction and the music just really brought back everything from my childhood. So this was definitely a movie that I just love over and over again. So my number one best film of 2017 is, I think, one of the films that everybody should see, even if you haven't, and even if you're not a fan of comic book films. I think this is a movie that really stuck with me, and it's directed by Patty Jenkins, and it is Wonder Woman. And I think she's one of my favorite superheroes of all time. I think this movie was very powerful, sent a lot of powerful messages, and it really was a beautifully shot film. The cinematography, the score, the art direction, production design, everything was just so exciting to watch, and it makes you laugh, it makes you cry, it makes you jump up for joy and cheer for this superhero. And Gal Gadot, I loved as this character that we had previously seen in Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice, and now that she's gotten her own film, I think it was very well deserved to get the recognition for this film, and I can't wait to see the sequel, also directed by Patty Jenkins. That was my list of best films of 2017. What was your guys' favorite films? You guys can write in the comments below. And as always, you guys can subscribe to my channel. I've got more movie reviews, movie updates coming every week for a Trial Thursday video. You guys can also like me on Facebook and follow me on Twitter, and I will see you guys later.